and him potentially being a breakout superstar. So that's where it feels the best place to start here for hour number 2, because it has been a very impressive preseason for Ryan Dunn and the Phoenix Suns. And I'll read you his stat line from last night's game. He scored 20 points. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. And I'm here to tell you none of that matters. None of those stats actually matter when it comes to considering the impact that Ryan Dunn can have on this team. The stat that you need to be paying attention to, and it's really the thing everybody was freaking out about last night, is he went 6 from 11 from behind the three-point line. Him being able to be an efficient shooter from behind the three-point line completely changes the outlook of this 2024-2025 Phoenix Suns team. Completely changes it. He is an elite defender. It's why he was drafted in the first round. But if you will remember, one of the knocks against him, why he wasn't a lottery pick, why he wasn't a top 10 selection, is he didn't have an extra element to his game. He was a really good defender, but that was it. He wasn't going to be able to add a whole lot else. And the Suns needed that help defensively. They lacked the length to be able to go up against the Minnesotas of the world, the Denvers of the world in a 7-game series in the postseason. They lacked the ability to put one guy on a star player on the other team and say, we're taking you out of this series, or we're taking you out of this stretch of 6 to 8 minutes. They didn't have that. They didn't have that eraser that could be a chess piece that they move around the way NFL teams take a corner and say, all right, Justin Jefferson, we're going to put our best corner on you. All right, Jamar Chase, you're not beating us today. We're putting Patrick Surtain on you. They didn't have that Swiss Army knife defensively. They didn't need a top-end scorer. That's not what they required out of the draft. They needed somebody that helped them on the defensive side of things. You're going to get the top-end scoring from Devin Booker. You're going to get the top-end scoring from Bradley Beal. You're going to get the top-end scoring from Kevin Durant. What this team needed going into a new coaching philosophy with Coach Budenholzer and him going to be a three-point shooting team and him wanting to not take a lot of low percentage or high percentage twos, but wants to shoot the three, wants to play quick. This new philosophy, this new era that this Suns team is going to be in, those 3 guys are going to carry a lot of the scoring. They needed the complementary pieces. And they had an extra shooter in Grayson Allen. He provided that 4th option scoring-wise. He provided that extra boost. He was their main three-point shooter last year. And so if you're going to add the defense that Ryan Dunn provides, and that has been as advertised from the word go, and you're going to get some level of a scoring element, you're going to get somebody that can be a 3-and-D type player, it completely changes the utilization of this team's entire bench. Because it would be really difficult. Ryan Dunn can be the greatest defender in the NBA this season. He can be defensive player of the year as a rookie. If he can't score, if he can't shoot, it's going to be really hard for Budenholzer to get him out there in key moments. I can envision it now. If this team is in a playoff series and they're struggling, and let's say they're down 10, 15 points and they need to go on a run, it makes no sense to give Ryan Dunn any minutes because he can't provide any scoring. His defense is great if it's a close game. If this is a game in the fourth quarter and Booker and Beal and Durant are locked in and this is a 93-92 going back and forth, yes, get me Ryan Dunn out there to be able to neutralize Anthony Edwards. Get me Ryan Dunn out there to take care of whatever player I want to match him up against. But if you're down 10 in the fourth quarter, if you're down 15 at the end of the third, you can't put Ryan Dunn on the floor if he's not going to give you something offensively. It becomes a bit of a game theory issue, a game script issue for Coach Budenholzer. Now, he doesn't have to shoot 6 for 11 every single night out on the floor, but if he is better than what he was in college, and that's the one thing that stopped him from being a top 10 pick, if you get that from him, it changes the game script. It changes the way Budenholzer can use him, and then we would be talking about the Suns getting a steal. Negativity's been kind of the theme today, so I'm going to bring it back because I want to pump the brakes a little bit on this. I don't want to go too goo-goo over a 6 for 11 shooting night and Ryan Dunn all of a sudden being the missing piece and the Suns are going to win the championship. Because I have a very recent example of a player being brought into a franchise, a player going to be a big impact as a rookie. This player was going to take the starting job from somebody. He was better than this player. He was going to get the lion's share of the workload. He was a home run hitter. He was what a steal by Monty Ossenfort to get this guy. Isn't that not what we just did in the summer with Trey Benson? Isn't that not what we just did with a running back who all in preseason, oh man, this kid, home run hitter, big playability. James Conner, middle of the season, going to be replaced. Trey Benson's going to take over for him. And everyone was like, oh, man, they got James Conner. You got Trey Benson. You add that to Marvin Harrison Jr. This offense is going to take on a whole new life. I'm still waiting. I'm not saying to give up on Trey Benson. I'm just saying maybe those expectations were too rich in the summertime. Maybe we got a little ahead of our skis on talking about what Trey Benson's impact could be as a rookie. And that's the warning that I'm trying to give everybody here about Ryan Dunn. It is very impressive that he has seemingly made a fix to his shooting mechanics, and he appears to have worked on very tirelessly that part of his game. And I'm rooting for that to be the case, because if that is the case, then this is going to be a fun season for us to talk about here on the show. The Suns are going to be fun because that is an extra chess piece for Coach Bud to be able to use in game. If he doesn't have that, it becomes a little bit more difficult to utilize him. And so that's why everybody is going crazy about what you've seen so far. It's just preseason basketball. It doesn't matter if the Suns win or lose. But this takeaway, Ryan Dunn performing the way that he has, and it wasn't just this game. He played the Pistons, I think it was last week, and had another decent shooting night. I think he went 3 for 5 from behind the three-point line. If he adds that 3 to the 3-and-D role that they have carved out for him, it is very easy to see a scenario where in the fourth quarter, in crunch time of a close game, that Ryan Dunn, as a rookie, is on the floor playing very important minutes for the Phoenix Suns. And then it's a steal. And then we give the flowers to the Suns organization for standing pat, making the moves that they did on draft night, and being able to snag Ryan Dunn. But let's see that through. Let's get to a place where we're seeing that from Ryan Dunn on a consistent basis. Because at the same time, while this can be a very encouraging sign, while this can be very impressive, he is still a rookie. There are going to be bumps along the road. I don't think, are we rolling on this, Producer Dylan? This is being recorded for the podcast, because if I'm wrong here, we are going to get cold takes exposed hard for this. I don't think the Suns, in the selection of Ryan Dunn, got a Steph Curry-esque player, a Giannis-esque player, a superstar that fell in the draft that you look back 5 years and you go, how did that happen? How did that player fall to pick number 18, pick number 23? I don't think we're going to have that conversation about Ryan Dunn. I think we can have a conversation of, man, the Suns got a really good player. They've got a really nice piece to help with this core. That conversation I think we can have. I don't think we're going to have the conversation that the Suns got a superstar, all-NBA type player. And again, an impressive preseason. But let's just pump the brakes a little bit, because there's an example in town of this exact thing happening and the hype train just leaving the station. And there is nobody that throws their hype behind somebody more than me. If I believe in somebody, we're going to play Sounders in here. We're going to go all in. The hype train will emanate out of this studio. And it did for Trey Benson in the summer. People thought James Conner was going to be replaced as the starter. And yet here we are 6 weeks into the season, about to start week 7. And that hasn't happened yet. And it doesn't look like it's on the horizon. So just pump the brakes. Be excited, because he is showing flashes of the player that can have an immediate impact for a championship caliber team, a team that has championship aspirations. But don't immediately think that all the Suns' problems are solved and Ryan Dunn is a steal. He's a home run. The Suns have fixed everything. Off to the championship they go. Let's just pump the brakes on that a little bit. Let's be excited, because we're seeing improvement. We're seeing a player that is fixing one of the major flaws in their game, the thing that's going to keep them off the court. That's great. That shows a great work ethic. I love that. Again, this was a great pick. But let's just put the proper expectations on the table for this team, because I'm here to tell you, we did this last year with the Suns. We didn't set the proper expectations, and we saw what happened. We saw this team fumble and miss those expectations. and they had to fire their head coach, and they were a very quick exit in the postseason. So again, set the right expectations for Ryan Dunn and for the Suns accordingly, but get excited about what we've seen so far.